Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. You are listening to What We Saw on Stolen Cable. This particular episode is My First Movie Crush Was in Night of the Comet.
Yes, Night of the Comet.
I'm your host, Uncle Patches, and I'm here with our other host,
Sinister Cinema.
Hopefully everybody's familiar with the show. We like to just run down and talk about how we loved movies from when we were growing up. This particular movie was on cable all the time, but as I understand it, you hadn't seen this film until I recommended it to you. Is that correct?
Not that I remember. I mean, I'm watching it again. I kind of remember like some parts, bits and pieces, but of course that's also because it follows a pretty popular formula for movies that, I mean, maybe had come before, but definitely came after.
I mean, it kind of set the standard on some stuff. I was looking at this here. It was a $700,000 budget on this film, and it made $14.4 million, and they didn't feel the need to make a sequel to it. But, it had a pretty definitive ending.
That's true. That is true. How would you follow that movie up anyway?
I don't know. This was an interesting, just a few years ago, the zombie craze was all out there.
So that kind of comes and goes. In the horror genre, it goes through cycles. You got werewolves, vampires, zombies. Those are like the big ones, and they kind of come back in and out of popularity over the years.
Yeah, I've got films dating all the way back to the 1920s with all those themes.
Yeah, but
this one's interesting. This one's a little bit different. I mean, you've got the different varieties, like the Night of the Living Dead. They're slow zombies. Broken.
Yeah, those are actually, the dead coming back to life, crawling out of the grave type of thing.
And then you've got like 28 days later zombies that are all jacked up and
they mutated.
And they run fast and everything like that. You get the same thing in Resident Evil. Another set of zombies that you don't see anymore. Back in the 20s and 30s and stuff like that, when they did zombie films, the zombies always had a master controller.
Oh, yeah.
So somebody would rise the dead. So it was more like a necromancy type thing.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah.
This one is a little bit different. This one is the zombies are on like a time limit. So you figured like with The Walking Dead that eventually the corpses would have,
Yeah, you would think like
rotted away by now because they are in a certain set of decay when they're walking around. It's not like they're freshly dead. But, we're like 15 years later into it and they're still walking around?
Yeah, that's true. Which, yeah, with the decay, the muscles, steady state of decay would just eventually, they would fall apart and not be able to function anymore. Who knows? I mean, it's, you got the whole supernatural aspect to it, which is in most zombie stories. Sometimes you have the necromancer kind of controlling them through some sort of magical and mystical powers. Yeah,
and a lot of times in those, you've got, those are actually living people that they turned into zombies that are under control.
That's true. So where would you put these zombies? Were they still living people?
Yeah. I mean, we've got a living group that have been mutated. So they're more along the lines of like Resident Evil.
So like the mutated humans rather than crawling out of the grave.
And instead of rotting, they appear to be rotting, but then technically they're just losing all their moisture and they're turning into chemicals.
Okay.
Base chemicals.
Yeah.
Let's do a rundown of the plot of the film, in case you guys aren't aware. This is set in the 80s, of course, because it's an 80s film, and it's about two girls that survive a apocalypse. The planet moves through a comet's tail, and the comet wipes out the population by sucking all the moisture out of the people, and all that's left is red dust.
Yeah, so everyone turns into dust as if someone had snapped their fingers with the...
Yeah, it makes you wonder if this is where they got the idea for Thanos.
Yeah, especially with the orange dust was almost exactly the same, because I think that they did the same thing in Avengers where they didn't just turn to dust, it was an orange tone to it, if I remember right.
No,
right?
It was like a gray tone or something. Not all of them turned to dust. Some of them turned to like dust and ash.
Okay, well, you don't really see anyone actively like turning into dust in this movie. It's just she goes out the next day and there's piles of clothes everywhere with dust around them, which is
dust around them, dust in them.
Yeah,
I mean, it's creepy. It takes place in Los Angeles. They filmed this thing in very early morning time periods when all the drunks were already at home passed out and there was nobody on the road. So They did a really good job of making Los Angeles look completely empty.
Yeah, they did. And they also did a really good job of making it look like it was all in the morning. It really did have that morning feel to it.
So you got early morning stuff, even the nighttime stuff. It was pretty barren out there.
Mhm.
I guess they would have done that just before daylight.
Yeah, probably.
So we had car chase scenes and stuff like that with the cops that turned out to be zombies. This movie has some very interesting cast choices on here. My personal favorite was Regina Belmont, played by Catherine Mary Stewart. Now, she was most known for movies like The Last Starfighter and Weekend at Bernie's. She is my first movie crush. I think she's absolutely beautiful. And if you look at my photos of my wife when she was younger, there's a lot of similarities in between the two of them. So yeah, I definitely had a type. She is beautiful. She's always plays a very strong character.
Mm-hmm.
Her sister in this one is played by Kelly. What is it? Kelly Maroney.
Mm-hmm.
Samantha Belmont. So she has a little sister in here. She was in Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Had a really small bit part. Mostly known for Chopping Mall.
Ah, there you go. Another horror classic.
Horror classic that takes place in the mall. This particular film has mall scenes in it, and I do believe it's the same mall that was in Chopping Mall.
Yeah, it could be. And, yeah.
Yeah, they use that mall for a lot of stuff. I think it was the same mall they even used in Robert Downey Jr. was a bad guy in the film, and who was the other guy? Anthony Michael Hall.
Ah, okay.
Was it Weird Science?
Oh,
there we go.
Yeah.
I think it's the same mall that they used in Weird Science as well.
Maybe, yeah.
So, yeah, the mall in this movie is famous. We had another character in here. We got a couple of those guys. Jeffrey Lewis. A lot of people will recognize him from Any Which Way But Loose because he did a lot of collaboration with Clint Eastwood.
Oh, yeah.
He was one of those guys. He seemed to like he was in everything back in the day.
Yeah, he did. He's one of those guys that just was in everything. One thing I've noticed is this movie is a very, very 80s. If you know anything about the 80s, or you lived through the 80s, it's this film will bring back memories. You know, there's a lot of stuff in there that's very specific to the 80s.
Well, the 80s styling, the MTV vibe that you get from it.
Yes.
The movie even starts off with Regina playing a video game.
Mm-hmm.
What was it, Asteroids?
Yeah, I think so.
We're all about the 80s in this film. It even features a song from Cyndi Lauper, which is very famous. Yes. Girls Just Want to Have Fun.
Yes, and another 80s staple was the kind of fashion montage.
Oh, yeah. They do wind up in a mall trying on clothes.
Yeah, that's a very 80s thing to do. Have a popular song at the time playing, and they're, doing a little montage of trying on different clothes and dancing around, having a great time.
Even the guns that they use are very 80s.
Yes.
So they feature a couple of Uzis in this film.
Oh, they were Mac 10s, actually.
They were Mac 10s? Yeah. Oh, that's right. They mentioned the Uzis. Yes. It's like, Daddy would have gotten us Uzis.
Yeah. The Uzi was a superior firearm to the Mac 10. The Mac 10 is known to be very inaccurate and kind of cumbersome, known to have problems jamming, stuff like that.
Oh, God. As I remember when we were growing up in the 90s, those things were really popular by street gangs, and they kept on shooting up sidewalks and stuff like that, drive-by shooting.
Hitting everything but what they were aiming at.
Yeah. Oh, before we get away from the actors on here, I got a couple more mentions here. Hector Gomez plays Hector in this. Oh, no. Robert Beltran plays Hector Gomez in this. There we go. So Robert Beltran is most famous for playing the character Chakotay in Star Trek Voyager. And I remember watching the first episode where he was in it in Star Trek, because I'm kind of a Star Trek fan. I was like, oh my God, that's Hector from Night of the Comet.
That's funny.
That's how they kept me in on it.
That's pretty good. With most people, it would be the other way around.
Yeah.
Like, oh, wow, that's the guy from Star Trek.
We also have Mary Woronov, Woronov. She was one of those character actors that was in everything, and I had a hard time remember what I remember seeing her in, so I actually looked up her filmography. She was in a few episodes of Knight Rider, a few episodes of the short-running show Sledgehammer. She was in a couple of episodes of Webster. She was in the film Death Race 2000. She was in the Dick Tracy movie. That one had Madonna and... okay. God, who was the main actor in that one? That was...
That was Warren Beatty.
Warren Beatty, yeah. She was in that one. Mm-hmm. She was in another film called Warlock. Did you ever see Warlock?
I'm sure that I have. I know that for some reason I can't think of the actual movie, but I know the name of the movie is. I know it's something that I've seen, but I just can't place any of the.
Yeah, it was one of those 80s films that it was so low budget, it was awesome.
Ah, yeah.
And it actually had a bunch of sequels. I most remember it from a scene where they find a child that's been skinned alive.
Oh, wow.
It's like, well, what are they going to do with the child that's been skinned alive? He says, well, make flying potion. The next thing you know, they got a side scene where he's flying through the air. Wow. But he looks like a cardboard cutout that they've... Yeah. So Warlock, she was in Chopping Mall, Amazing Stories, and the Buck Rogers series from the 1980s.
Wow. That's quite a career,
Yeah, I mean that's just a short list. She was in a bunch of other stuff too.
Yeah, a lot of TV roles. That's good.
Well, I mean, a lot of these actors that we talk about that are in That Guys. I saw a documentary on That Guys, and this is the actors that you see in everything, the character actors.
Yeah,
really the unsung heroes of Hollywood. A lot of times they go missing in your life because you get used to the same ones and everything like that, and then you're all like, "Hey, whatever happened to that guy?" Mm-hmm. And you have to look it up, and then you find out that they stopped doing stuff because they died or had a horrible accident or something. A lot of times they just age out, and nobody wants to hire them anymore, which is sad.
Yeah, especially since there's got to be some place for some older people in movies, even if it's a kind of a background character.
Hey, what about that ad campaign that I showed you earlier? The one for the beard shampoo. They had a spunky old woman in that one, didn't they?
Yeah. It seemed like she was having a great time.
She had the best lines for sure. Just a quick rundown of the film. Starts off with Regina at a movie theater. They've got a big event going on. They got the comet coming through. Everybody's all excited. There's news reports that they can't get a hold of any of the places that seen the comet first. She winds up spending the night with her boyfriend in the steel encased projector room.
Yeah.
Now, film back in the old days used to be highly flammable.
Yeah.
So all the projection rooms were up to a fire code. So that way, if the film caught fire in the place, then
it would be contained in the the firewall. Yeah.
Or else you wind up with what you had in Inglourious Bastards, where they were just trying to
lots of
burn the whole place down.
Yeah.
So she was there for the night with him, and then he winds up getting killed by one of the first persons to get killed by a zombie the next morning. Mm-hmm. And then she runs into her sister by pure luck. She apparently got into a fight with the stepmom and then hid out in the steel shed.
Yeah.
And then later on, you find out that Hector spent the night with a woman in the back of his truck, his steel truck. Mm-hmm. So they pretty much determined that steel was what kept them from getting.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah. I guess that also explains why everyone in the military facility were all still alive as well.
Well, they were largely alive, but like they said that they...
yeah, that's true.
They left the ventilation system going, which was very scientific. Once they realize that there's still people out there, they decide that they're going to go to the radio station. Mm-hmm.
Which a radio station is... It's kind of funny if you know anything about radio or radio studios and things like that. This looks more like a nightclub than a radio station.
It was the most 80s style radio station that you could ever imagine.
Yeah,
it looked
for sure.
Really comfortable. That scene was kind of neat. She actually, the character, the little sister, what was her name again? That was Samantha Belmont, the little blonde girl. Mm-hmm. I say little blonde girl. She was probably about 24 when she did the film. I saw an interview with her when she was talking about Chopping Mall with Joe Bob Briggs in The Last Drive-In.
Yes.
I've mentioned it before. If y'all get a chance to watch any of The Last Drive-In with Joe Bob Briggs, if you're a fan of horror films or anything like that, they give a lot of really good behind-the-scenes content.
Joe Bob Briggs is classic host especially for horror films.
He had his own cable show there for a while, right?
Yeah, he did.
Where he was doing this. And then one of his old fans talked him into doing this new deal, which picked up. And I think they just recently got canceled again. Yeah.
I was reading something about that, which is kind of sad. Like I said, he's a really good host.
Back to the film. They go to the radio station, and they actually mention the name that they originally had because the girl gets on the radio and she mentions, hey, you know, if any of you teenage combat zombies want to get a hold of us, and she reads off the phone number. And that was supposed to be the original name of the film, Teenage Comet Zombies. Which
funny, because that has to be a throwback to the classic horror films from like the 50s and 60s. They were all given titles like that.
You know, my favorite one from the 50s was The Blob. And mainly because that was the first theatrical appearance of Steve McQueen.
But I'm talking about like films like Invaders from Mars and Teenagers from Outer Space and things like that. That titles that pretty much give away the whole premise of the movie.
You know, I learned something interesting about that by watching Joe Bob Briggs.
Yeah, a
lot of these films had multiple titles for the same film. So they would take the film and they would drive it around to the different places. And that's because they didn't do a wide release on anything back in the day. You would get a certain number of films for a few weeks and stuff like that. But if they didn't do well in one setting, they would change the name at the next one. In the next city to see if it'd do any better. Sort
of doing that Rocky and Bullwinkle type of thing where the title of the next episode is this or something else.
You know, we did we did Top Secret a couple of weeks back or last week. We were talking about Police Squad.
Yes.
And Police Squad had 2 names for each episode too.
Yeah. I can't remember any of the names of the episodes, but yeah.
I can't either. If we were doing a deal on that, I'd have everything listed out. But I do remember in the opening sequence, they would kill off their special guest and introduce Abraham Lincoln as one of the characters, but you'd only see him turn around and shoot John Wilkes Booth at the beginning of the thing. That was it. And I did a check on that guy.
Yeah.
That was the only role he ever did.
Oh, just Abraham Lincoln.
Abraham Lincoln in Police Squad.
That's great. That's quite a thing to put on your resume, I guess. That was Abraham Lincoln
in Police Squad.
In Police Squad, yeah.
Now I'm an accountant. Well, Hector shows up at the radio station. You know, the rest of the story goes from there. They get in touch. They have scientists that get a hold of them. The scientists have been infected, and they're trying to come up with a serum. So they're all bloodthirsty, literally.
And then they're trying to, drain the blood out of the healthy people to kind of save their own lives.
So I guess we kind of went into a vampire movie with that one. So zombie vampires.
Sort of, I guess. I mean, they're not biting them and drinking the blood out of their necks.
But I don't know. The one was eating a cat.
Oh, yeah.
It's all over the place. It's a great film. Like I said, Catherine Mary Stewart in this film, she does a fantastic role. A lot of the times with these B films that I guess for $700,000 we can legitimately call this a B film.
Oh yeah,
it does have an A film feel to it.
Yeah, for sure.
It's put together really well.
It is.
I remember this being on TV a lot back in the day, and that's probably why you remember bits and pieces of it, because you'd be flipping through the channels and it'd be on.
Yeah, I believe so.
Surprisingly, this one does not have the TV to movie shock surprise that I usually get when I watch films from back in the day. If you listen to the podcast before, I'll often mention the surprise that I get when I'm watching a film that I've seen 1,000 times, or at least I thought I've seen 1,000 times, that I picked up on DVD or Blu-ray, and there's nudity in the film that I don't remember seeing, and it's always a shock. I think Beastmaster was one I watched here recently that had that.
Also, there's the language in this movie is pretty tame as well, right?
Oh yeah,
which is also kind of strange when it comes to 80s movies. 80s movies had, as I remember, most of them had some pretty strong language.
This was a very family friendly murder film.
Very family friendly, TV friendly. That's probably why it was aired on TV so much. There was probably little to no editing they needed to do to be able to air it in regular broadcast television.
The gore in it wasn't all that bad. I mean, you only really saw a few zombies, and it didn't have
they didn't look too grotesque either.
They didn't even have a lot of jump scares. There was only a few jump scares here and there. I think overall this film was just entertaining.
Oh yeah.
So the story pulled you in. The female characters on this were very strong characters.
Oh yeah,
they were not damsels in distress. I mean, they got into stressful situations, but
they held their own against their attackers, and even against the zombies.
They got caught off guard because they were being kids, but then again, they're kids.
They also are out there thinking that they're the only ones alive. They're not really being too cautious when they're in the mall. They're in there, with the music playing really loud and dancing around, having a good time. And that's how they're actually kind of caught off guard there.
Caught off guard and captured. They had a pretty decent gunfight in that, too.
Oh, yeah. They weren't captured easily by any means.
They went down fighting. They had the car chase scene. Well, I guess it wasn't really a car chase scene. The girl's driving down the road as fast as she can. She gets pulled over by the cops.
Yeah.
And she's all excited because there's cops. And they turned out to be zombies.
Yeah.
That's where you get a couple of the jump scares. You had that scene.
Yes.
You had the scene at the beginning where she runs into the one guy that had killed her boyfriend. And that's pretty much it. Well, yeah, Hector ran into the one zombie kid when he went home to check on his mom.
Actually, kind of pretty intense scene, One scene of note that I think was kind of funny, and it kind of struck a chord with me, was when the main character, Regina, is showing her sister, Samantha, that, everyone is dead. She's just trying to, get through to her and then she walks out the front of the house and shows there's piles of clothes everywhere, and she's just showing her, look, this is, so-and-so, these are our neighbors right here. And the sister just kind of backs into the front door and just slowly closes it. I was like, yeah,
that's totally in denial.
Yeah. It was such a good scene because I think that was such a realistic reaction. Just being totally in shock and in denial about something. Like, she couldn't even scream or voice any kind of protest. She just slowly
ignore it, it'll go away.
It was so good. I thought that was such a realistic reaction.
Yeah, the acting in this film is phenomenal. Every character is believable. You have no scenes where you're like, oh, well, that guy kind of took me out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And you run into that quite a bit with low-budget B films.
Yeah.
But no, you don't get that one in this at all. They were all very professional. They all did a fantastic job. Not much to say about the soundtrack other than the Cyndi Lauper part. I mean, it was enough to go along with the film, but it wasn't anything fantastic. It was edited well.
Oh, yeah.
And the flow on it was really good. And that's a complaint that I've got with a lot of the modern films, especially in the late 2010s, early 2020s. They would put out a film and then it would be just so chopped together, it would be garbage. They'd have all the budget in the world to do a film, and then they just didn't know how to put it together. But they had $700,000 and they worked every penny of it, and it was fantastic. It's a great film.
Probably wasn't really too much need for special effects in this one, except for I guess when they're shooting at the car, trying out the Mac-10's bullet holes and the tires popping and stuff like that. Other than that, there wasn't really like a lot of special effects. It was kind of makeup and costumes for the zombies. But
even the underground fortress, you could tell in parts of that was just a matte painting.
Yeah.
And then they did the hallway tricks where they put mirrors and stuff up to make the hallways look longer than they actually were.
That's another great movie magic trick right there. Is
the mirrors that make the hallways look endless. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The problem is figuring out where to put the camera in so it doesn't show up on the
True. Yeah.
on the bit.
Not a lot of expensive effects. Not a lot of
I don't even think they had an effect with the car. I think they just shot up a car.
Yeah, maybe.
That would have been the cheapest option to do.
That would have been the easiest and cheapest option, yeah.
And that's probably the case because the car didn't blow up when they shot it up.
Yeah, that's true.
They only had one explosion in the film, and it was at the very end.
Mm-hmm.
They saved all the special effects for that.
What else? What was a big standout scene for you?
I like it at the end of the film where they picked up the kids.
Oh, yeah.
And Regina's gone all psycho mom on them, and they're doing like picture day.
Yeah.
So they got all the kids all dressed up in fancy clothes and stuff like that. And they're all tugging at their collars and stuff.
Yeah.
What was the deal with the bunny?
The bunny?
Yeah, the bunny.
What was the bunny?
All right, so the little girl had a bunny, right? Oh, and then Regina had the bunny at the end and wouldn't give her back the bunny for whatever dumb reason. That was the one scene that just kind of stood out to me as it was like, what was the point of that? All right, so referring back to my notes here, I've got a couple of things. Very popular on cable TV and VHS. The film made $14 million, if I'm reading that right. Yeah,
that's 14. Pretty good take.
Yeah, from $700,000 to $14.4 million. Mm-hmm. It was really big on cable TV, VHS. The Valley Girl dialogue in it was intentional. So
yes,
the San Fernando Valley, I guess is what it is, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they had the Valley Girl talk, which was very popular in the 80s, regardless of where you were at.
Yeah.
Let's see. It influenced later pop culture, such as Fallout and Dead Rising.
Yes.
Post-apocalyptic mall setting.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Dead Rising. Such a good game.
I haven't played that one, but I've seen you play it.
Yeah, it was fun. The first one set in a mall, which is kind of reminiscent of this and of, what was it, Dawn of the Dead?
Yeah.
Which actually, I think they had a lawsuit over that. I think that it was eventually dropped. Either that or, Capcom won. Can't remember which. But, yeah, they tried to... I think the movie studio or movie production company tried to sue Capcom over the similarities of the game being set in a mall and the Dawn of the Dead was set in a mall. But, I mean, that's pretty much where the similarities kind of end.
Yeah, they're both in a mall.
I mean, well, and then there's zombies too. So, yeah.
Well, how many other movies that were zombies in a mall? I mean, at some point in time, you always wind up in a mall, especially in the 80s.
Oh yeah, of course.
I mean, Terminator 2 was in the 90s, and that was at early 90s, so that was basically late 80s. Yes. And they wound up in a mall in that one.
They were in a mall, yeah.
Everything was about the mall back in the days. And, I didn't find out until later in life and why the malls were failing. It's because malls used to be tax shelters. And they started to fail once they moved all the tax shelter, removed that loophole from the tax code.
I see. Okay.
So nobody was investing in malls anymore, and that's why the malls went away, because people stopped going because they jacked up the prices on everything.
Which is kind of sad because, as I got older, the appeal of a mall kind of, faded from my interests, my places that I actually wanted to go. So, but at the same time, you think about the ability to go into a place that's, climate controlled and have access to all forms of entertainment. You can go into many different stores and enjoy a wide variety of types of food, stuff like that.
Well, let's review our mall experience here. That was really close to our house. They had a movie theater in there.
Yes, yeah.
Which was common for malls back in the day. Although there's no movie theater in it now. They turned it into a bounce castle place.
It's actually kind of surprising that mall is still functioning.
Well, they're renting out their parking spaces to Amazon.
That's true. There's actually very few stores that exist in that mall. There's not very few, but there's a lot. There are a lot of spaces that are not being leased.
They put a DMV in there.
So I don't know. I just think that the concept it's something that really probably shouldn't go away. Because.
Well, I remember across the way from the movie theater was the arcade, and that was the first place I played Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter 2.
Yeah.
And those games took all my money back in the day.
They took everyone's money back in the day.
Yeah. I mean, Pac-Man was one thing, but, once you got the Street Fighter 2 where you had actual comic characters fighting and not little stick figures that could barely move around. I mean, they were very articulate.
Oh, yeah.
It's something that we always wanted.
A wide variety of playable characters and many different fighting styles to choose from, things like that.
Combat yoga. I mean, how can you beat that?
Such a good game. Like I was saying, though, the ability to spend a day without having to be out in the elements, things like that, it's good.
I miss it. I miss it here in the summertime.
Yeah, sometimes.
Used to be able to go to the mall and walk around, and there's just... I guess people would go, but, you don't have an arcade there anymore. You don't have a movie theater there anymore. A lot of the major department stores are no longer there.
Yeah, that's true.
So Sears doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Which is the main reason why I stopped going to the mall, because I got one of my first jobs out of high school was I worked at Sears. I hated that job. It made me hate the mall.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people that got out of school or were in school and had a job at the mall pretty much despise going to the mall after that because you were there every day.
Yeah, I guess I would kind of kill your...
Not for fun, for work. Every day for work.
Kill the appeal of the mall to you, for you.
I got engaged at the mall.
Oh, there you go.
It wasn't very romantic. We were dating. She was working at the pillow store. We had dated since high school. Mm-hmm. And I got off of work and I went over to go see her. And I said, hey, they got some engagement rings on sale over there at Sears. You want to go take a look at them? And that's how I proposed.
Maybe possibly a step down from, getting attacked by ninjas. And then, I fought off all these ninjas.
What is that from?
I don't know. It's just, I had to think of something that was extreme. So, that would be like, someone's wedding proposal. People always try to come up with like some unique wedding proposal that's,
Oh, I saw one. I don't even know if it was a real one or not, but it was a deal where a van pulled out in front of the guy's car, and the guys got out of the van and pulled him out and started putting a bag over his head. And the woman in the car is screaming, everything like that. And they go to get her, and they throw him down on the ground, and he comes up with a wedding ring, and she is hysterical.
Yes. I guess if it depends on how their relationship was, but I couldn't see a woman after being traumatized like that being, oh yes, I would just think they're just like, why would you do something like that?
Well, I did wind up getting her a ring. It was a set, and the diamond on it was so freaking small. But luckily, I worked at the mall, and they had a K Jewelers up the way, so I borrowed the ring so I could have it cleaned, and I got a custom diamond put in it for her.
Well, there you go.
She loved it. We've been married for 29 years. The mall was great back in the 80s. Night of the Comet, kind of a mall film. They have scenes and stuff there, but it does give you a very good feel of what it was like back in the day.
So yeah, this movie, if you lived through the 80s, it will be very nostalgic. It'll give you the feels, the nostalgic feels. If you didn't live through the 80s, it will give you a very good concept of what the 80s was like.
Yeah, I even look for that in films nowadays, older films anyhow. I go back to a lot of stuff in the 70s. Now, I was born in 75, and I've got a big memory of the 70s, but I do remember watching some films, especially the low-budget films. Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a low-budget film, but the scenes before they get to the massacre part, that does give you a very strong feel of what Texas was like back in that time period.
Yeah. Rural Texas. There's still parts of Texas that are pretty rural. Those are nice. But, of course, if you had just watched the movie, you'd probably be a little on edge.
I mean, that one, and what was the other one? Jeepers Creepers.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So
that did have some scenes had the, Texas Chainsaw Massacre kind of feel to them in that movie.
Man, these old movies are great.
But, yeah.
This week on What We Saw on Stolen Cable, we survived the end of the world 80s style with Night of the Comet. Mall zombies, Valley Girls, and somehow it all rules. But once we're done looting their arcade, we're spotlighting something real, film independent. The nonprofit keeping scrappy, weird, low-budget films alive. The kind of movies that don't come from a boardroom. The kind that stick with you. Because without indie films, you don't get the cult classics, you get safe, forgettable noise. Learn more or support at www.filmindependent.org. Thank you very much. You've been listening to What We Saw on Stolen Cable. This particular week's episode was my first movie crush was in Night of the Comet. I'm your host, Uncle Patches.
And I'm Sinister Cinema.
Thank you very much for listening. Y'all have a fantastic time.
Yes. We'll see you next time. Or you'll hear us next time.